Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Thanks for coming over to talk.
Yes, thank you for inviting me to come over to talk.
You're very welcome.
Yes, welcome to the Wonder Whimsy Podcast. I'm Kimberly Hamilton. I'm an actor, writer. I teach yoga, meditation. This is Jayson Smith. I'm very happy he's willing to talk to me today. He's a very talented actor, kind of a local Atlanta celebrity.
Am I? Well, who knew? I mean, I didn't get paid enough to do this, so, you know.
You're getting paid in joy and fun.
Exactly.
Where it counts.
Stories. Experiences.
Right.
Right.
But we're both storytellers of
That's
sorts.
what they say.
And so I thought it would be interesting to talk about how stories and our beliefs kind of shape our lives. So we're going to be talking a little bit about Sam Harris and Letters to a Christian Nation, and basically how his perspective is either helpful or unhelpful. I don't know.
Which could it be? So I think she's actually got some quotes here. We're going to start to kick off the conversation, right? Wonderful.
Yeah, so this is a Sam Harris quote where he sort of reframes faith. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So that's the biblical definition, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Harris sort of reframes this as faith is nothing more than the license religious people give one another to keep believing when reason fails.
Yes.
So that's sort of a more, savage way of thinking of faith.
Yeah.
Thinking of faith in kind of a negative way.
Well, I like another thing he says in there that there's another definition of faith, like having faith in yourself.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But yes, I want to back all the way back up to the first thing that you talked about. You started talking about hope. Mm-hmm. Hope. I'm paraphrasing now, but the hope for something to come and faith that it will just happen with absolutely no evidence. I just have faith that this will happen.
Right.
And I'm going to kind of go off the tangent here for a little bit, but hope is something that I've gotten into many arguments or debates with people about that word.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the word hope? Do you think it's a good thing, a mediocre thing, a bad thing? How do you feel about hope?
Hope.
Yeah.
So obviously context matters.
Of course.
But my question is hope for what? It depends on what are you hoping for?
True.
And when is hope? I think hope can be a good thing and hope can be a toxic thing, depending on the context. For instance, if I hope that I can fly, right? If I just keep hoping that one day I'll be able to jump off a building, spread my wings,
you
and
will
fly
for a brief amount of time.
So
right up until you're done.
I think hanging on to hope for things that are scientifically impossible might not be the healthiest type of hope.
No, I fully agree with that.
But if we are hoping for things that are plausible, that are physiologically possible, I think that can be a good thing.
Yeah.
But it depends on what we're hoping for. So that's sort of...
I hope you die soon. Not a good thing.
No.
But I hope you have success and you get everything in your life that you would like to have. I hope that for me. I hope that for you.
Yeah.
I hope that for my family and anyone. And I, hope bad people go away and go to prison or die or whatever. You can have these very negative hopes.
Right.
And so my personal philosophy is that my definition of hope is that hope is fear of the future.
Fear of the future.
Mm-hmm. I hope things turn out this way because if they don't, it will be bad. And so I'm hoping that it turns out the way I'd like it to. And it's like, what's the number one way of having disappointment? Expectations, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like this giant expectation of the future. It's a hope. I can say it in a nice way of like, I hope you have a wonderful trip. I hope you have a wonderful marriage. I hope you have, I hope this job works out great for you. But still, it is in my opinion, I'd love to hear your thoughts. It is a fear of what the future will bring.
Yeah.
Hidden in a nice word.
I can see what you mean. So that sort of raises the question, like, can you have hope without fear? Can you hope for something without being afraid of the opposite? So that's a good question.
Because it seems implicit that if you're hoping for something to turn out a certain way, that you can't have good without bad, you can have light without dark. There's the opposite.
But are you fearing? Can you hope without actually fearing? So, like, I hope you're having fun. And a part of me is like, oh gosh, what if I'm afraid he's going to regret this. And never want to talk to me again.
Keep it up. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying. Can you have hope without fear? So can you also hope for something and sort of prepare for the worst? So that's sort of what you've heard of this term, optimistic cynic.
Yeah.
Where you're hoping for the best, but you're preparing for the worst, Absolutely. And then you're never disappointed.
I try to live my life that way.
I try to as well, but it does raise an interesting question about hope versus expectation, too. Mm-hmm. Because you can hope for something so much, but what exactly are you expecting?
That thing.
That thing?
That turn of events, that thing, that result. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know any other way of defining the word hope other than I'm hoping, I am planning on this thing happening in the future. Hope is in the future.
Yes.
We can agree on that.
We can definitely agree on that.
Yeah. So, being an amateur Buddhist that I am, there is no future because it doesn't exist, and we have no control over it. Mm-hmm. I mean, to a degree, we do. We can get into free will. That's a whole other discussion. But to a degree, we have control over what's going to happen next by our actions right now because they have consequences. But we actually have zero control over the past. So we're here. We're now. So hope is just, I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to this thing happening.
Yes.
Some way. And it could be, again, like we said, a negative hope. I hope they have 4 flat tires today.
Yeah.
So you can have those kind of hopes too, the Schadenfreude kind,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hope definitely exists in the future. So we agree on that.
Let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to say that. I've never gotten to say that before.
What do you think? But the experience of hope. I feel like the experience of hope can happen in the present.
Sure.
Right? Because you're imagining something in the future,
of course,
but in the present moment.
Yes.
Yes. So the sensation, like the physiological experience of hope happens in the present. What you're hoping for is totally in the future.
Well, I think you and I can both relate being professional actors. Mm-hmm. You go to the audition, you hope you book the part.
Yes.
But it's completely out of your control, other than what you're doing in the present moment of, doing a good job and hoping that this and whatever this is pleases those people who make the decisions. Mm-hmm. And then, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I just think hope can set you up for disappointment.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So your point, hope, if you're hoping for something and it doesn't happen, naturally you're going to feel let down.
Right. But what else is hope than hoping for something?
Yeah.
That's the way, yeah. Sorry.
So I guess my question is, do you think hope is a healthy thing or an unhealthy thing? Or do you think it's pointless to hope?
Yeah.
You do think it's pointless to hope?
I know that sounds very hopeless to say.
It's so hopeless.
Yeah. It sounds so negative. I've had a lot of people go, oh my God, I couldn't live my life like that. Mm-hmm. With no hope for the future. I'm like,
right. You think it's a waste of energy?
I think it is. I think it also causes I personally think it causes more damage than good.
More suffering.
Suffering, that's the key word.
Yeah, and what you're saying does sound a bit Buddhist.
Oh, it's very Buddhist.
Because it relates to non-attachment, right?
Correct.
If you're hoping for something to happen and you get attached to that outcome,
hope is attachment.
That's what leads to suffering.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's a very Buddhist belief that attachment leads to suffering. Attachment to an outcome of a situation.
Or anything.
An attachment to identity or attachment to what you think the world should be like, right? So attachment in general. So that's an interesting philosophical.
And that's why I say I'm an extremely amateur Buddhist, because I really hope that the Bulldogs would win the national championship. I'm very attached to that happening, and it didn't again. So,
So if hope leads to suffering, what then is a healthier way to operate in the world? Because the whole point of, I think, talking about philosophy and different belief systems, to me, is there a belief system that we can apply to life that's going to help us live a happy life and enjoy our life, right?
Yeah.
So if hope isn't the answer, what is a healthier way of kind of approaching life? What do you think?
And again, I'm no expert. It is
Preach to me.
It is something that I strive for, fail most of the time, is to be present in the now.
Okay.
And just be appreciative and grateful for the amazing, bountiful things that I personally have right now.
Okay.
A roof over my head, a friendly person to talk to, electrical power, food in the refrigerator, there are not bombs dropping on the street, etc. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
And I am totally guilty of living in a hope-filled world, especially being an actor. Like, oh God, if I could just book that thing, then I'd be happy, right?
Yeah.
Which that's a whole other discussion, but that's I need to be happy now.
Right.
And I think hope is kind of like a gateway drug to not being happy. Of you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're setting yourself up for suffering. What replaces that is just being grateful for right now.
Grateful for the now. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is something I kind of struggle with too, because I teach meditation, I teach yoga, I teach mindfulness, I teach gratitude and present moment awareness.
Awesome.
When I teach meditation, that's my focus. It's very much mindful meditation. And to be able to practice that sense of moment to moment awareness and moment to moment gratitude, it's a lot easier said than done, especially when you have goals.
Sure.
Right? So my question to you is, how do you kind of balance that? Because, do you think that we should never pursue goals because goals are in the future? Yeah. Should we never make plans because that's in the future? Or so I feel like for me personally, within the pursuit of my goals, I think there is a way to, yes, have goals. Yes, make plans for the future. However, not get too attached
leave
to.
Hope out of it.
Yeah, maybe leave a little hope out of it.
Well, it's wishful thinking.
Right. And then enjoy the moment, like when you're creating something or you're pursuing something for the future, planning for the future. You can still be present within that planning.
And something is going to happen.
Right.
If you're alive, something is going to happen, and then be grateful for that.
Right.
Now, if it's not exactly what you planned on, it is what it is. It's that.
Right.
And if it's like, well, I had hoped for this, well, now I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
And if it does work out, and I hope for this thing, and it all turned out, then okay, great.
Yes.
But why set yourself up for potential disappointment?
What you're describing also sounds a bit Taoist.
Sure.
Because the way of the Tao is about letting go of control as well.
Absolutely.
And kind of going with the flow, going with things the natural way they are. So I feel like what you're describing is very much Taoist.
Yeah, and again, am I practicing all this all 100% of the time? Hell no.
Right.
I screw it up all the time. Yeah.
But ideally, you're saying this is kind of like a healthy way of life. There's a part where Sam Harris talks about how he's basically equating, well, he is critiquing moderation. He's critiquing this idea of cherry picking scripture, right. Cherry picking the Bible, and saying, okay, I can accept some of this because some of this sounds like it's feasible in 2026.
Some of it's good stuff.
But I'm going to ignore all the stuff that's outdated that we collectively...
Deuteronomy, we're just going to take that right out.
Right. And so his argument is that, okay, if parts of the Bible are clearly extreme, why only consider parts of the Bible true and parts of the Bible inaccurate? Especially if you want to adapt this idea that the Bible is the Word of God. So wouldn't you think that the Word of God would be timeless? Wouldn't you think that the Word of God wouldn't be incomplete? Or do you think the Word of God would be like, oh no, part of this is true, part of this is not?
It's not the Constitution. Right?
Yeah.
I have many, many friends who I am assuming are what you would consider a moderate Christian.
Yeah.
In other words, they believe in Jesus. They believe in maybe they I don't know, living a good life.
Yeah.
Being good to other people most of the time.
Yeah.
Not all those people, but most of these people over here, that there's a little bit of that. And it's just like the thing to do. But and what he was talking about around that quote, the 14th century maniac, is that most of the folks who are that moderate Christian type assume that they are way away from the fundamentalists of either Christianity, Islam, Judaism, the big three. He says, no, you're not. You're not. You're are you in or are you out? I mean, this is the book. You're just going to cherry pick, and these, like he said, and it's slim pickings for those good things, because there's a lot of just horrible things in there about how you're supposed to treat your slaves and killing the infidel, and we have to. Sorry, but we're going to have to circumcise you at 40 years old, and this is your dead brother's wife. You need to sleep with her. It's just all that crazy old stuff, and what food to eat when, and all that. But it's all in there. Well, that's Old Testament. Well, is it the Word of God, or is it?
Right.
And you can have this argument with people forever. But that he's getting at that, because I don't see your moderate position as anything better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he critiques the commandments, and he argues that
here's an idea.
If this is if this is the Word of God, why is there nothing in the commandments against slavery?
Right.
Why is there nothing in the commandments against? How about don't be cruel to children?
Yeah.
And the way his tone is quite aggressive.
Oh, sure.
It's very blunt. He's not coddling Christian believers.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's not coddling your feelings.
No.
He doesn't care about your feelings because he believes that this way of thinking is dangerous when you have faith without reason. Now, one of the most interesting things that I think he said was about Pascal.
Yes.
And he said something to the effect of what Nietzsche was actually. Right. Nietzsche was describing how Pascal was like the saddest thing, because Pascal convinced himself that, okay, no, faith, because of original sin, I can't trust reason.
Right.
So he thinks that his brain is broken because of original sin.
Right.
Therefore, he can't rely on reason. And Sam Harris is arguing that no, religion is what is creating
your Christianity
doubt.
That's done this.
Yeah, Christianity has actually created this self-doubt. Like, I can't rely on my logic because of original sin. So I thought that was an interesting argument.
Yeah. There's another passage with, I'm butchering this, but he talked about like a reverse Pascal's wager. That's the way I kind of live my life. It's like I'm gonna roll the dice the other way.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with Pascal's wager, the idea is basically, and correct me if I'm going off the wrong path here, is that, why not just live your life this way, up your odds of having a good time if you actually find out there is a heaven. right? Something to that effect.
Pascal is basically saying it's a safer bet.
Yeah.
Because the reward is better.
Right.
Why not believe in this thing that you could have who doesn't want to have an afterlife? Like, who doesn't want to go to heaven? Right. So it's a safer bet. Like, just in case it's true, I might as well be a Christian because I would rather go to heaven and follow these rules.
I'm gonna hedge my bets here. Yeah.
I agree. There's some sort of.
But to be that real faithful Christian that will supposedly go to heaven and follow all the rules and all that, reason goes out the window.
Yeah.
So it's like, and there's a lot of people that are, I love science and I love physics. I don't understand most of it, but I love learning about it. And there's some of those guys that are like hardcore mathematicians and physics. I don't know if you don't call them physicians, but physics professors and rocket scientists and all these, that know all, and Jesus too. I'm like, okay, whatever works for you, man. I don't see how you can make it all mesh. Oh, God's mysterious. Yeah, okay, I guess he is.
Yeah, I think that goes to the same idea of moderates. I think moderates say, in their defense, if you interpret the Bible metaphorically instead of literally, it aligns with a lot of scientific beliefs.
Sure.
But Sam Harris is saying, how can you say, okay, I'm going to interpret this passage literally, but this passage metaphorically,
right,
and ignore all the other stuff in the Bible that's actually dangerous?
Sure.
So.
Well, can we agree that it was written by a bunch of humans, a while back, and just there's some good stuff in there that's a good way to live your life?
Right. Yeah. And
there are some good things in there.
Yes, and there's stories, and you and I are storytellers.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you agree. I don't want to assume, but I'm sure you agree that storytelling can be a very powerful tool to impact people's lives in a meaningful way. It can change your perspective.
It's what makes us human beings.
So if you look at the Bible as storytelling,
sure.
Perhaps and what lessons can you glean from these stories? Perhaps that is a healthier way of looking at the Bible. But I don't know if Sam Harris would agree with even that. I don't know if Sam Harris would think no, the Bible is a complete illogical, distortion of reality. And
if you look at it as nonfiction prose, yes.
Yeah.
But if you look at it as, fictional poetry, then it's a lovely book.
Yeah. I pulled up the exact quote we were talking about. So, to quote Friedrich Nietzsche exactly, the most pitiful example, the corruption of Pascal, who believed in the corruption of his reason through original sin, when it had in fact been corrupted only by his Christianity. Mm-hmm. So, Pascal was saying that the heart has its reasons, which reason knows nothing about. So Pascal is saying, which I'm curious what you think about this. Pascal is saying that you cannot, that reason and the heart or emotion will never agree. He's basically saying, it's okay to have faith in something when reason tells you not to. This sounds sort of like a romantic idea almost.
Yeah, sure. It's an emotional idea.
Yes, and I feel like as actors, it's. Have you ever played a character where the character is sort of abandoning logic to pursue an emotional pursuit, like love, or
most of the good characters is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
and they end up in tragedy a lot of times.
Right.
Yeah. They keep taking these steps, you're going, stop, no, don't do it. Yeah, but they're being guided by their loins or by their heart or their soul or their emotions, their feelings, their hope.
Right, their hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
in Buddhism, I think Buddhist being kind of just real quick on Buddhist. If you're really truly like a monk Buddhist or whatever, not going to be a very good actor. Yeah. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Well, I feel like Because an actor is all about emotional availability and allowing yourself to adopt a complete different belief system.
And believing a bunch of crazy bullshit.
For
and
the
sake
of temporarily.
Right?
And
let it get you all worked up. I'm going to remember that guy.
But also, Buddhists believe, everything is impermanent, right? And everything is temporary.
Everything changes.
And so I feel like maybe a Buddhist could be an actor if they just understand that, okay, I am accepting a belief system for the time being.
I was being a bit facetious. But you have to let all that go because it'd be like, why would I do that?
Right.
Nothing gets me upset. It's like you're talking about mindfulness, and we touched on Stoicism before we started recording. It's like if you really live that lifestyle to eliminate suffering and be completely mindful and drop back and reset and start over, and or the Stoic lifestyle, or put all those things together, or a little bit of Buddhism in there. Yeah, you're not going to get upset. You're not going to. You may fall in love, but you're not going to get your heart broken for too long. You're probably not going to murder a lot of people. You're not going to get fights.
Yeah.
And who wants to watch that?
Right. So I guess, Sam Harris is very much about we should rely on reason and science and logic for decision making.
I agree.
But my question is, should we abandon emotion? Is it okay to base some decisions on our emotions? Our feelings, our intuition.
Well, do you mean emotion or do you mean faith? Or both?
Well, so I think faith. I guess the question is do you consider faith an emotion?
I think it would be, an
emotion. Yeah.
Why else would you have it?
Yeah.
Because it's based upon hope. It's based upon
a feeling of longing.
There's something bigger than me.
Yeah.
It also, there's a whole part about, there's also a part of religion, if we're going to talk about faith and religion, of the community. Now, that's beautiful too. Of people gathering together, like-minded, and doing good things for the community and all that. I'm all for that. I think they should pay taxes, but that's another discussion. But, I get it.
Is there a way to approach life and make choices and make decisions that are aligned with logic and emotion? Is there a way to marry logic and emotion and to not completely abandon one or the other? Or do we have to just pick? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't, I'm just making up crap right now. I've never really thought about that. I don't think we should ever try to get rid of emotion. That sounds like a very horrible future, like 1984 Orwellian kind of thing. No, emotion's important. It's what makes us human beings. It's when it starts teetering into made up beliefs that don't make any sense, that have no base in reason at all. But it's like I can have falling in love. When that sort of thing happens, is there any reason involved there? No, it's a feeling.
Right.
Now, we could probably sit here if we spent enough time and we were really good biologists and anatomists and all that, we'd say, well, here's why you're having that feeling.
Dopamine, oxytocin.
Yes. Because you need to propagate the species, and this is what makes you do that, right? We could go there, but that's not much fun, right? The emotion part. But that's what's going on. But it's that feeling, and that's what brings us poetry. And poetry is what, for people, a lot of people, including myself, makes life worth living for. I always look at, of course I'm being very biased because I'm an artist and I work in an artist world, but it's like, we started out just subsisting and then farming and then communities and cities, and eventually you do enough of that, people don't have to farm every day or hunt animals every day or try to survive. They can do other things like art that brings other people joy and helps them feel not alone. And there's a group of people within the community that do that sort of thing. And if that went away, it would all just be survival again.
Yeah.
So no, never want that to go away. when it gets out of control, I think is when it starts getting into faith and belief in things that just are complete. Well, when it starts to harm other people, that's a problem.
When faith and emotion start to harm
Sure.
other people, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing across the world these days.
Right. Yeah.
Or not only to humans, but to all living creatures.
Right. Yeah. So I think when it comes to decision making and the choices we make every day, so my question is do you think there's a way to sort of make those decisions and based on logic and emotion, based on our thoughts and our feelings? And also, another question for you. Yeah. I'm just curious what you think.
Yeah.
Do you think that thoughts are separate from our feelings? Or do you think that they're basically a thought is a feeling?
Oh.
Do you think they're one and the same?
I think they're the same.
Okay.
But they all come from the subconscious, which we have no idea.
We're still exploring
we
what
may
the
never
subconscious
know.
mind is. Yeah.
We may never know. It's just thoughts come up and we don't, and where they come from, who knows?
So speaking of thoughts, do you have a regular meditation practice that you do?
When I do meditation, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like everyday kind of practice, which I'm not doing every day.
Okay.
But what it's like, I do just straight up mindfulness meditation.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, there's also an exercise that we do in the Strasberg method of acting. Mm-hmm. But have you ever practiced the Strasberg relaxation sense memory exercise?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
which I love.
It's a form of meditation.
It is. Yeah.
But it's all about scanning the body and being in touch with all that. Imagining senses and all that sort of thing. But just straight up mindfulness meditation of just emptying and trying to look for the looker that you can never find and just going back like, okay, I'm having a thought. Here it goes. Let's go back to the breath. And I keep it real simple. I'm not doing a lot of like the metta and that kind of thing and the loving kindness, which I should be, but I mainly just do mindfulness.
Right. So you're more focused on your breath, observing your thoughts without...
Or just noticing that they're there and go, all right, there's another thought. Yeah. And there it goes.
Right. Without judgment,
Absolutely.
Without attachment, without identifying.
To be able to... And I do that and this is what, my wife and I get, and she's like, oh, I thought mindfulness was like being mindful of what I need. I'm like, no, that's not, she didn't say those words, but basically she's like, oh, so it's all about you. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I said, but what it allows me to do is it keeps me, I'm going to still get angry, but I don't stay angry. Mm-hmm. And I still may get disappointed or sad or fearful, but I'm not going to stay that way. I can let that go and go, let's just go back to zero. And now I'm here. Mm-hmm. That's what I've learned from my mindfulness meditation. I'd love to hear your experience.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really useful tool as an actor too, to be able to go back to zero after you've experienced all these emotions.
Yeah, all the chemicals are still running, but yeah.
Right. Your nervous system responds as if you're really experiencing those things, because you are really experiencing those things if you're an actor living truthfully in imaginary circumstances.
Bingo. Thank you, Mr. Meisner.
Stand for Meisner. But my question to you is, which I'm happy to share my different meditation techniques too. Yeah. My question to you is, though, you mentioned we don't know anything about the subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. So I was curious, in your experience with meditation, do you think that is a way to tap into the subconscious mind at all? Or do you think it's more of just...
Oh, well, I'm a massive advocate for tapping into the subconscious mind, not understanding it, but tapping into the subconscious mind, because that's the other method that I'm in the process of learning to teach right now is the Demidov method, or the Demidov school, as it's formally called. And it is all about the subconscious. And so basically the idea, and I'll give a brief kind of synopsis here, is you learn some lines, you have no idea what the circumstances are. Just here's some words and here's some words. They're going to say this, I'm going to say that, or whatever. But then we let the lines go. They're in my subconscious, I hope. We'll see. We'll see if they show up again. I'm not going to hold on to them. And then I empty for 2 to 3 seconds, because that's about the length of time you can keep your mind empty. You know that if you meditate, it's like, how long can I? Oh, there's a thought. I just had a thought about not having a thought, right? It's never ending. And so you empty out for a couple of seconds or so, and then you just let the subconscious drive the car. And you do whatever the hell you feel like doing next. And whether it's a thought, a feeling, an impulse, something that drives you, or something the partner does, Jerry kind of got that miser effect. What's the partner doing? It's affecting me. But I'm not consciously trying to make anything happen. I'm just going for the ride. So I absolutely love the subconscious, and that's what I'm trying to tap into all the time.
With the Demidov?
That's Demidov. Yes,
Demidov.
The Demidov school of acting is based upon that, going straight to the subconscious. Whereas Stanislavski, who he worked with back in the day, was all about going through the conscious mind, chopping it up into little pieces and dividing it all up and figuring it all out, and then putting it all back together and then throwing it all out. And he's just saying, why don't we just start with throwing it all out?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just start at the end and it'll work better. And I'm not going to go into a history lesson to lead off, but his stuff got buried for many years and is now back.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the process of doing the deepest dive that one can do into Demidov. I'm 3 years into a 4-year program.
Oh, wow. 3 years into a 4-year program.
I'm basically like going back to college right now.
Wow. Yeah. I would love to pick your brain more about that at some point.
Another talk.
Yeah.
And there are people way smarter than me that you should talk to about that. But yeah, I could give you a note.
But I love that method is sort of based on tapping into the subconscious mind. Yeah. And letting go of consciously controlling your impulses, and sort of it's tough to do that. I feel like, because when we're awake, we're conscious.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But I do believe that through certain relaxation techniques, there are ways to sort of tap into the subconscious mind when you're actually still conscious, when you're not. I don't think sleeping is the only way to tap into it.
It's just a matter of listening, paying attention.
Yeah.
It's the paying attention.
Paying attention.
I mean, that's what mindfulness is all about.
Right. That's what the mindful meditation is noticing your thoughts, without judging your thoughts, and without attaching stories to your thoughts, without identifying.
Carry on.
Oh, you're fine. Let's get comfortable.
I'm getting comfortable.
Starts with the shoes.
And we're stopping at the shoes.
We're stopping at the shoes. You were talking about love earlier, about the concept of falling in love, and how that's not a rational, reasonable, logical experience, right? It's just emotional.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously some biology going on, but yes.
Yeah. And you could look at that through science, right? Like we said, like the oxytocin or whatever.
Yeah.
But it sort of reminded me of this Taoist quote.
Okay.
That
I'm not as familiar with Tao as you are, so please lay it on me.
So Sam Harris is essentially saying we shouldn't believe something without reason. We shouldn't base our decisions on faith. We should base our decisions on reason and logic. And Taoism is sort of like we should go with the flow of nature. And Sam Harris seems to be very much attached to words, right? Explaining things with reason and words.
He's a $5 word machine.
Right?
Yeah.
But a Taoist might say that so much of what we experience is so intangible, it's beyond words.
Sure.
So going back to your statement about love, we can try to explain what love is with words, or we can just experience it. Right? Yeah. Or we can just experience it.
Sure.
And, or we can try to explain what anger is.
Or any of those things.
Or any of those
or
things.
Fear.
Yeah, any of those intangible things. Yeah. Or we can just experience it.
Hope.
Right. As a human being, how do we like apply these different philosophies in the healthiest way possible so we can enjoy life together? We're all on this rock together. How can we sort of apply these different ideas? So I think Sam Harris raises a lot of great arguments about reason and not abandoning reason. Buddhism, Taoism, they align with Sam Harris to an extent. And Stoicism, I mean, I don't think Sam Harris calls himself a Stoic, but I do think
he's an advocate of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of what he says sounds a lot like Marcus Aurelius, for instance.
Sure. How do we all live together on this rock?
Peacefully and...
Well, yeah. And I think, for me, and again, I'm not the know-all of anything. This is just what I think, is that when we stop doing that, they're wrong. That's when we erase the other. And that's until we can do that, which I don't even know if we're capable of doing that, but until we're capable of just erasing bad guy, wrong thought, not like me, wrong color, until we can, and that's where the religion thing comes in. Not all, for the fundamentalists, it's like, well, all of them have to go, and I'll go to heaven with my 72 virgins if I help a lot of those people go, that kind of thing. That's the problem with the non-reason, the faith-based religion type things. And even if you're a moderate version of that, it's like, well, you're still a part of it. And I'm not going to get into like that. And you're evil too. No, I don't know the answer to that. But I wanted to address what you said. How do we all get along on this rock that we all live on together? Is when we can stop making other people different than us.
Othering people.
And am I perfect at that thought? No. But I'm trying.
And I'm definitely not perfect at it either.
And religion's not helping me do that.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think you shared something recently with me, which I thought was really interesting. The George Saunders letting go of those 3 delusions.
I only listened to it once. So, yeah.
But I really appreciate what Saunders is saying about those 3 delusions. And one is...
Remind me, please. I've totally forgotten.
One of his delusions that he thinks we should let go of is this notion that we're all separate. That I'm Kimberly and everyone else is different.
Yeah.
That
I'm Chevy Chase and you're not. Yeah.
And that we're not all made up of the same stuff. That we're not all human beings. That we're not all equals. Right. That we forget that no, you're Jayson, I'm Kimberly, and we're not the same. Right?
That's easy, but it makes sense why we do that.
Yeah.
But it's not a good way to live.
No, it's compassion. It's understanding that that you might feel things that I feel, that you might have experienced things I've experienced, no matter what success we may have had. Like your career, for instance, is like way more successful than mine is.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean like I'm othering you or like
I hope not.
or like, you're just a human being like I am, right? Or the fact that you're male and I'm female.
It's like, my body's put together slightly different than yours. But otherwise
and another delusion, so the delusion of separateness, that I'm so different than you and that you're so different than everyone else.
Yeah, we're all the star of our own movie.
That's the other one, was that we're not the star of our own movie, that we're not the main character in...
and that's hard to let go.
Yes. We think that the world revolves around us.
Especially for actors.
Well, it also goes back to, like, psychology. And if you've ever studied, childhood development, there is a part of childhood development where we think that we are the center of the universe.
Of course.
Egocentric mentality. And maybe some of us don't ever grow out of that. But I think it's a good reminder to remind ourselves, because sometimes we feel like our work is so important. Our job is so important. Our roles in life, whether we're a father, a mother, a friend, or whatever, we think that what we're doing is so, so important because we think we're the main character And we forget that no, we're just one person on this giant globe with billions and billions of people. And we're not that significant. So I think that was the other delusion, was that we're not the main character.
Right.
And then the other one he talked about was control, which also, is very Stoic.
That goes right into Stoicism.
Yeah. That the illusion of control.
Absolutely.
That we think that we can control our reality, and we think we can control other people, but it's an illusion. We can't control what happens.
We can only control how we react to what happens.
And some would even argue.
Here, yes. Yes.
Do we even control how we react? Is another debate.
Another debate, but no, we don't. But but that's you deal, and that's Rob Mellanoy goes, "Oh, I'm going to pick up this glass." Like, well, how do you know that you hadn't already made that decision before you made that decision? There's no way. I'm not loaded up for bear enough to have that argument with anybody right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole Stoicism thing, I was introduced to Stoicism by a friend of mine named Blake Cooper. And he told the story this way. He goes, you get in your car, you go out onto 285, and you're doing the speed limit, you're staying in your lane, everything's going fine, and somebody just smashes right into you. Who's at fault? Who's responsible for that happening? And I'm not going to make you sit here and think of this. The answer is you are. Why am I responsible? He said, I was minding my own business. You put your car on the road, knowing full well that you were completely out of control of the things that were going to happen on that road. You can only control your car, and it might blow a tire, or the tie rod comes off and veers into the, whatever. Because you are responsible, because you took the car out and put it onto the road. And I was like, huh. And it just, once I grasped that and just went, oh, I can quit blaming everyone for my problems, I feel so much better.
Yeah, I can see how that's very freeing in some ways, because it's very easy to think about, okay, causality. What comes first leads to this, a ripple effect. Yeah. And we could drive ourselves crazy. Okay, who do we blame then? Who's really to blame? Your parents for sex and giving birth? How far do we go back?
That's when you get into what free will do I actually have?
Yes. Yeah. But as far as your day-to-day living, I definitely think the Stoic philosophy of sort of surrendering this control and accepting what you can't control, or maybe what it feels like you can. Because maybe free will exists, maybe it doesn't, but it does feel like we're consciously making choices, right? Certain feels.
We probably should keep it that way, because if everybody didn't think that free will, it'd be a very chaotic world.
Right.
So just keep believing you have it. Just keep doing that.
But yeah, to always go back to asking ourselves, okay, how can I hold myself accountable for what's going on in the world? Mm-hmm. Because, everyone is culturally, politically, there's a lot of tension, economic tension, social tension, political tension. And I see a lot of people, like you said, pointing fingers. But I do think that if we all stopped, and it would take us all stopping and asking ourselves, what can I hold myself accountable for? Mm-hmm. How do I fit into this causality? What have I done that is feeding this machine, or
contributing to the problem?
Yeah. But most, I don't know how. And I don't do this enough either, but I think that if we did that on a regular basis, maybe we would live a little more peacefully.
You would hope, but yeah, it can be very frustrating. Let's just say tomorrow we both woke up and said, all right, today by God, I'm going to do everything I can not to keep contributing to the problem.
Right.
I'm going to buy no plastics. I'm going to do, I'm going to recycle everything. But then it's like, you put yourself through this just machinations of all this stuff, and you're the only one doing it. So then does it become just like, I'm doing this for virtue signaling? Am I doing this to virtue signal to myself? Like recycling just makes us feel good, supposedly, right? And it's like, that's just one thing, but it's like, or am I going to go out and join that young man from Europe who's out there with nets cleaning the plastic out of the Pacific Ocean? No, I'm not. I'm glad he's doing that. He's got people to pay for all that. But it's like so I don't have an answer. I'm just saying that's where it can be very frustrating for any person to kind of go, what can I do?
Yeah, and then I fall into this feeling of helplessness.
That's a much better way of saying what I was trying to say.
Yeah, because I'm only one human being. I mean, I'm not even actively involved with politics or anything. So it's sort of like when the more aware you are of all the problems in the world, the more you feel like you should be doing more.
Right.
And then I feel guilty because I'm not doing more, but I don't know what to do. I also like going back to recycling. I'm like, I don't even know if the stuff I recycle goes to the right place. Like, so it's kind of like,
you gotta wash that out. You're not wasting water. Okay, come on.
Yeah, and it does take a village. It doesn't take just one person.
I'll just be the village idiot. Thank you very much. I'm just gonna do that.
So like what I was saying, if everybody on Earth,
sure,
like turned inward and asked themselves, what can I do? What little things can I do to not be a part of the problem? But the other thing is, like, we all have different belief systems.
Yep.
So that's, I think, the bigger issue. That's why we can't get along, is our belief systems are different.
And I don't see that changing.
Right.
Anytime, ever.
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna go on just a little bit of a flyer here, but I mean, it'll in that sense of like, the world's fucked up. What can I do? I'm going to go straight to the Matrix. You are a virus, and you're destroying your own environment. And we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
You and I are doing it. You're going to get in that car. It burns gas, right? You're going to drive home.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to throw some more plastic in that trash can over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and now we're sounding a bit like nihilists. It's kind of like no matter what we do, we're all screwed anyway. So then what do we do?
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Do we just try to make the most of the time we have? And I look at it as, okay, I want to make a positive impact in certain ways. I'm not necessarily trying to carry the whole world on my shoulders.
Well, I think here's my philosophy. You'd like to hear my philosophy of this.
Yes.
You can't do all of it. So you have to pick something.
Yeah.
And here's a couple of things that I do. There's this outfit, there's this organization called Giving What You Can, and I give them $10 a month. Now, I wish I could give more, but I give them $10 a month, and they are a charity that is not a charity. They're a charity that picks the best charities in the world to make the greatest impact with your $10 or $100 or whatever you're giving. And so I do that. That's one thing I do. I decided I needed to be giving more back to my political system of this country. I'm not very happy with any of the parties, so I'm like, well, what can I do to help? And I decided, I really like ranked choice voting, so I'm going to volunteer to help advocate for ranked choice voting in the state of Georgia. And literally, that means I sit at a table at the farmer's market once a month in Athens, and I sign people up. And then they started moving me up the chain, and I'm like, I don't want all this responsibility. I just want to be the guy at the table that signs people up. Okay, Jayson, we could really. I'm just gonna. That's all. I'm a cog in the machine. I don't want to be the brain. But there's a bunch of people that are, and they love doing that shit. They love politics. So so I just found a couple of little things that I can do. Like my wife is going to a food bank once a week and volunteer. Every now and then I help out a homeless person, but yeah, I've had that feeling of like, what can I do?
Right.
What can I do? And it's like I have subscribed to the New York Times, and I don't even want to read it anymore. It's nothing but bad news. I'm just like, you can't even spin this, to make me happy as a quasi-liberal that this is good. It's all bad. It's just like bad news.
Yeah.
And I got kicked out of social media because I'm an idiot, and I'm kind of like, thank you, you did yourself a favor. So I'm on Instagram. I got back.
Do you know why you got kicked out?
Yeah, I told a joke that was broke the rules according to them.
Oh, so there must have been some trigger words in there.
There were. Had a lot to do with selling meth to kids, and I think someone was also out to get me. And so
gosh.
I gave them. It's like, here's the rope. Why don't you hang me with it? And they went, poof, there you go, and I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like, you know what? You did me a favor. I'm off of Facebook now. I'm like, I'm not going back.
Yeah, I mean, social media can be so toxic, and it's designed to be addictive. And I actually hired someone recently to run my business accounts. I have my personal account, and then it's just a marketing tool for me.
But that's, again, back to your thing, like, what can you do?
What can you do? Yeah.
I personally, my philosophy doesn't mean I'm right. You find something that makes a difference. And because you can't fix it all. It's just, the world's too big. Unless you're going to be, and I don't think you have the personality to be a world leader. So, no, because you're not a freaking psychopath, a sociopath. If you look at all the world leaders, they're all sociopaths. And they have to be. And it's like, I don't have temperament for that. So.
Well, you also do more than just what you said. I mean, you're a teacher. You teach acting, and what you're teaching, I mean, you're teaching like students how to tell stories, and I believe that as actors, as storytellers, that can also influence the world, hopefully for the better.
Sure, I do charge them money for that, but yes,
But yeah, I mean, but that's still like, I mean, you should charge money for that. That's valuable,
right?
But so that's still, that's, I mean, I think that's another way of contributing for sure.
Well, I mean, sure. Thank you, Kim. That's very kind. But yeah, I mean, sure, I am giving back in that sense. Because actually, his name's come up twice now. Rob Mello, he came to me in 2013 and said, "You should teach now. You've got the resume where people will think, oh, he knows what he's doing, and you have something to offer because you have experience and training."
Right.
I said, well, I didn't go to MFA, blah, blah, blah. He goes, never give a shit about that. I was like, okay. And then my teacher, a woman named Sandra Dorsey, rest her soul, she said the same thing within a month of that. I'm like, okay, I guess it's time.
Yeah.
These people, because I thought, I'd been thinking about it, but I'm like, oh, you're being pretentious. You're not ready. Who's going to take a class from you? But they're like, no. We're more experienced than you, and we see in you that it's time. Like, okay. And Rob was nice enough to help me get started.
Yeah.
And we remained friends.
Good old Rob Mello.
Yes.
He's a great teacher too.
He is a great teacher.
But I think teaching acting is a way to contribute a lot. And I
agree.
I teach a lot of skills. I teach
yoga.
I teach yoga. I teach Tai Chi. I teach meditation. And I'm a nutrition coach.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I do one-on-one health coaching. So I help people get healthy because I feel like the mind and the body are one. Yes. And if we can eat healthier, we might have clarity in our mind about all these things we're talking about. That's what I do to contribute is, I teach these healthy practices. And I also, as a storyteller, I like to think my art has a meaningful impact.
Oh, I love your stories. Your stories are always so much fun because you've got a wonderful sense of humor. And then you've also told some very serious stories, too. I forgot the name of the project that you and Michael made that you had cancer in the thing. What was that?
Well, I've played characters with cancer a lot, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway,
multiple. It was
the short film that you and Michael made.
So I made a short film.
Was it Michael?
I made a short film. Michael wasn't really that involved with it. That was Kelly Lockwood.
Kelly Lockwood, yes, yeah.
I had cancer in that one. Charlton was in that one. Ian Covell was in that one.
Ian was great in that. Ian was wonderful in that, actually.
But I also produced Constellations.
Right.
And Michael and I were actually...
That's the one you did.
Yeah, and he and I were inspired by what you did with Blackbird when you self-produced Blackbird. We were like two actors producing them.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that I had cancer in too.
Oh, yeah.
And so
it was a different cancer.
Yeah. But the feature film that is the movie that Michael and I made, it was a feature film. And it was actually exploring a lot of these ideas. It was kind of philosophy.
I want to see that. Can I see it now?
Yeah, I can send you a link if you want.
It's like the hotel room thing.
It's called Twin Flame Hotel.
Yeah.
And his character represents more of a Sam Harris type. His character represents math and science, and he looks at the world through equations and through logic.
Oh, cool.
But my character actually represents something you might think is dangerous, but hope. Hope for, or also it's. So this is another point I was going to bring up actually. So the idea that Sam Harris is presenting,
back to our original
yes,
thing, yes,
trusting our reason, trusting our science, trusting on what we can prove scientifically, right? That's all very valid. But the question is, do you think that can be taken to the extreme? Do you think that can become a trap? Do you think that that can actually limit how we experience the world if we only rely on reason and logic? If we never open our minds to the possibility of something beyond that. What do you think?
Well, when you say beyond,
right?
If you mean feelings and emotions and the subconscious and those types of things, then we need to have that.
Or even something metaphysical.
That's what I thought. If you're going in that direction. Yeah, I mean, who was it? Carl Sagan, he said, well, I can't prove it, but I'm very skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical. I'm happy to look at your proof. I'm happy to, and who was it? Louis C.K. was talking. It's like, if he could just would just come down here one day and just say, all right, look, I'm here, and quit doing that, and that's good, and it just things would be so much. We'd all be fine.
Yeah.
But he won't.
Yeah. Come down to earth. Get grounded.
Yeah.
But,
well, I said my son. Well, did you? No. Okay. Why did it have to be so vague? And 200 years later, and Paul got involved in letters to. Anyway. But I think, I'm sorry, let me just finish answering your question, and then I'll shut up, I think you can take the whole science of reason and math and all that stuff way too far, of course, especially if it eliminates emotions, feelings, intuition, the human experience in that sense, because that's what makes us what we are. I think, other animals have emotions too, though. Obviously, we witnessed that. Some do more than others. And there's some humans who don't really experience emotion, right? Due to them not being, normal. Their brains are different than ours for some reason. So I would say, yes, we can take the math and science too far, especially if it eliminates that emotional aspect of being a human. As far as metaphysical is concerned, something else is going on out there, something beyond my reason, something that I can't understand, fourth dimension maybe, a multiple universe type thing, sure. Because I don't know. There's, it's like, where's the subconscious come from? Maybe it comes from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are some of the ideas we were sort of toying with in that movie was what defines a person, how do we define the self? But my character was very much trying to represent metaphysical ideas or ideas that we can't measure with science.
Cool.
These anecdotal experiences that you've heard about, like through meditation.
Sure.
Because some people consider meditation actually a little woo-woo.
Sure.
Sure. So I was like the woo-woo character, and he was like the pragmatic character, and we had these like conversations, and it was a fun movie.
Well, I look forward to seeing it.
But going back to the Sam Harris text, do you think that in this specific text, Letters to a Christian Nation, do you think he takes anything too far? Because my question is also about certainty. Do you think he seems overly certain about?
Maybe a smidgen.
Maybe a smidgen.
But I defer to him because he's done the work.
Yeah.
He's read the Quran. He's read the Bible.
Yeah.
He's read the Talmud. He's gone through all of this stuff. He's invested his entire life into this. And so, again, everything that he wrote in there could be bullshit. I'm assuming it's not. I'm very much, maybe I've drunk the Kool-Aid, but I'm very much on his side as far as like, by the way, I highly recommend, if you can make the time for it, watch all 4 of the debates between him and Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
They're awesome. They're all 2.5 hours long, but I watched them during the pandemic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You had the time.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did a tour. I sat right here and watched all of them. Anyway, and that's where those two disagree. Is like Sam's like, we don't need religion anymore. Period.
Yeah.
Because it's doing nothing, mostly nothing but harm to people in the world. And Peterson says, well, we can't just let go of all those stories. Yeah. And I have to admit, I have a little bit of an agreement with Peterson around, if suddenly it was like that movie, Yesterday. Have you ever watched that movie?
No.
Oh, it's such a great film. It's all about something weird happens, and this guy wakes up, and he's the only person in the world who's ever heard Beatles songs. No one else has ever heard any Beatles songs ever. And he becomes the greatest rock star on the planet because all he knows are Beatles songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so it's like he knows all the stories. And it's like if suddenly tomorrow something magical like a comet went by and suddenly religion disappeared from the world, it might be a scary place. Because it does have that element of it that tempers the human spirit and human emotion and non-mindfulness, craziness, murder, death, destruction, rape, theft, all that sort of stuff for some people. So I don't know. And the stories are pretty good. I don't consider myself a Christian at all, but I know because I went to Sunday school and I grew up in the church that I'm living my life based upon some of those principles.
Yeah.
I don't want to lie because, I was taught not to. And it was also in the Bible. Which is it? My parents or the Bible. Well,
yeah, it's hard to imagine.
Do I lie though? Yeah, sure. I'm an actor. I do it for a living.
Well, we're living truthfully.
Whatever.
We are telling the truth.
But no, but I still lie. I still lie.
We're lying with the truth.
Yeah, we have to lie to get through fucking life.
Yes.
So the fatness prison, absolutely.
Do you think a lie told often enough becomes the truth?
Oh, fuck.
So I guess that's sort of what Sam Harris is saying.
Sure.
That a lie told often enough can become this truth
that
people think is reality when it could just be stories. It could just be fiction. But it's hard to imagine a world without any religion. Because to your point, I think a lot of people, that is their comfort. That does give them a reason to live.
Sure.
Because many of us I wonder all the time, why? We want purpose. Many of us want a reason to live. Why am I here? We don't want our existence to be meaningless.
Ooh, there's another word.
But religion can fill in that gap. Religion can answer that question for some people. Oh, this gives me a narrative to explain my reason for living.
Yeah.
My reason
for going to work today.
Yeah. And so I think if you strip that away from some people that have held on to these stories as truth, it can be psychologically traumatic.
Sure. Oh, if you just stripped it away, sure. Yeah, it'd be hard. Like no more heroin for you.
Right. But so my question, going back to sort of critiquing Sam Harris and his writing, is: do you think his approach is a little too harsh? Do you think it's a little too savage?
For some.
It's not delicate. It's not.
I don't think he wants to be. I think he's purposefully doing it the way he does it.
Right.
He's made a choice. This is how I'm going to present my thing.
Yeah.
So is it too harsh? Maybe. I can't judge.
Right.
It works for me.
It's not too harsh for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure that I don't know. Now I'm going to have to think for other people. I don't know. If somebody was very religious and listened to one of his things, they probably wouldn't finish it. They turn it off. Mm-hmm. Or if they were in the place, they'd start yelling at him or leave. He's saying, look, that worked for a while. Religion. It kept people happy. It kept them in line. It kept people from just basically killing themselves every morning. It, gave them purpose, gave them meaning, helped them get through. But you know what? We've learned a lot since then. And now we understand that, no, he doesn't have a demon in him. He has a virus, we've learned a lot of these other things. So maybe we could start tiptoeing over to realizing, oh, yeah, we thought that was true, but it's not. And so we can let that go, and now we realize it's this thing, and it's this thing, and it's this thing. Mm-hmm. And because this is causing a lot of problems. Right. Lots of murder, a lot of death, a lot of war, a lot of famine, a lot of women wrapped in fabric, and just all this kind of crazy stuff. And it's not just the big three in the Middle East and the Western Hemisphere. There's a lot of crazy stuff in the East as well. In the Southern Hemisphere, there's all kinds of stuff that, let's say, are we going to take the Aboriginals' religion away from them? No, they don't care. They're not evangelical. I don't think they're going to take over the world with their stories, right? So we don't want to take all the stories away. We need to replace this thought process with something that's more based on what we know now.
Yeah, so maybe not taking away the stories that aren't causing harm, right?
Yeah, who's that?
Right,
yeah.
But then who? That's something that, yeah. Who's the arbiter of?
Nobody has an answer to that.
Right.
That's and that's if you watch Harris and Peterson debate, that's basically the gist of the 4 debates.
Yeah.
Is like them going back and forth on that for 2.5 hours times 4.
Yeah. Well, I think what I appreciate about what Harris is saying is to question all stories. Because when I was reading the text, I wasn't just questioning Christianity. It made me want to question other narratives that I've been told.
Sure.
I think that everything in life you should approach with a healthy level of skepticism.
Yes, thank you.
Hume was all about skepticism.
Sure.
And I think that's, in general, always asking questions, to think critically, but also, I will say with Harris's writings, he seems very self-assured. He seems very certain that he's figured it all out.
Yes.
And so that's where I critique it a little bit.
Sure.
Because I also think that it is important to, there's nothing wrong with being confident in your beliefs, but also keeping an open mind that there might be something more to this reality.
Well, he criticizes the certainty of fundamentalism.
Right. But he doesn't criticize the certainty of what he thinks. Yeah.
Right. That is his Achilles heel.
Yeah.
However, he's, you're welcome to debate him. Mm-hmm. Good luck. But yeah, that's why I enjoy watching him debate. It's just like, back it up, brother.
Yeah, he backs it up. Yeah. Epictetus. So he was a former slave turned Stoic, and he focused on freedom through the mastery of perception. And he states, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take on them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that sort of relates to a little bit of what Sam Harris is saying as far as how fear is manufactured through interpretation, right? Yeah. It's the way that we're interpreting the Bible that makes us scared of hell,
Yeah.
And just in general in life, it's not the thing that is bothering us, it's our view about the thing. It's our judgment, right? Mm-hmm. Like the light, for instance, that keeps flicking on and off.
Yeah, fucking light.
Like, the light itself is neutral, but if we cast a judgment like, oh, I don't want that there, that's like messing up the aesthetic.
Right. Or we ruined this entire thing.
Or we could be a Taoist and just appreciate that it's adding a fun little like.
Go
with the flow and embrace. We can't control the light. but we can control our response to the light.
Or we could send an angry text to the person who sold us the light. Oh, show him. Fucking light's still broken, but yeah, Steve can just suck it.
But yeah, any thoughts on Epictetus?
I love Stoicism. I'm not a scholar of Stoicism, but if that was, as you say, that was Epictetus who said that, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Our views and our judgments is what causes us more trouble than anything. That just boils down for me. No argument there. Yeah. And you said something earlier about, religion and meaning in our lives and stuff. Are you familiar with Eckhart Tolle?
Yes.
Okay. So you've heard the expression that life is empty and meaningless?
Yeah.
And it's empty and meaningless? That it's empty and meaningless?
But that's actually giving meaning by saying it has no meaning. You're actually saying that is the meaning. You're saying, oh, there's no meaning. That's my meaning.
Okay, true.
I don't know.
Touche. But first time I ever heard that, I was like, oh, that's horrible. How sad. But it just kind of it releases you from all this responsibility of finding meaning in things. Because as he says, we are meaning-making machines. Actually, somebody else said that first, and then he expanded on it. I forgot who the first person was. But, and when that also helped with me suffering less in my life.
Yeah.
Which, going back to Epictetus and that our views and our judgments, letting go of those things just makes life better.
Yeah, and not attaching a meaning or not feeling this pressure to label things and organize things and define everything with words. Going back to the Taoist philosophy of some things in life we can't define with words. We can't create a meaning for.
Yeah.
And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay to just experience things without assigning a meaning. Just let go and experience. And that goes with identity. As an actor, I'm sure you can relate to that. Identity can be adaptable and it can change in any given moment. That was another thing that Saunders was talking about, that identity isn't this fixed state. Right? Who we are.
Oh, yeah.
And how we perceive ourselves isn't this fixed state.
Well, sometimes we think it is, but yeah.
Right, but that's a meaning that we're creating. Yeah. I'm creating who I am by making choices in my daily life, right?
Yeah.
But letting go of that, we do that a lot in our craft.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And we can't have judgments about the belief system that we're adapting in our craft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to be the greatest advocate there ever was for your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you go to the whole physiological thing about, what was it you said about who we are? I mean, I think scientifically, biologically, about every 7 years, we're a whole new human anyway.
Yeah.
So are we still the same person?
It's a great question because our cells are very different. Yeah. But so much of who we think we are or who we want to be is also connected to our memories. Yet our memories are in the past.
That little man driving the car that's hiding behind my face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's the problem.
But yeah. I like to think that who I am, that I can decide who I am, right? Mm-hmm. That I can change. And as an actor, I want to think that I could be all the things, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you said before, I don't think you could be a leader or whatever. I was like,
Fuck you, Jayson. Oh yeah, that was sort of saying. Yeah. Right? No, I'm just.
But
about a world leader.
I know, a world leader. Yeah, but even so, you said something earlier, I don't think you could ever be a world leader because you're not a sociopath. But
at least I hope you know.
But I mean, how if who we are is constantly changing, constantly evolving in the moment, and as an actor, we know how to kind of become someone else.
Sure.
Maybe I could. Maybe I could get in that mindset of being a sociopath. I don't know.
I see it on the television all the time. And these people that are like, how can this person say these things? How can they actually believe these things they're saying? I can look at them and I can tell you're lying to me right now, but you're doing it really, really well.
But
But are they so brainwashed that they believe it?
Right. Have they brainwashed themselves?
That's so
Or are they lying?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, that's sociopathy. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
I have no feelings for other people. I'm the center of the universe, and I'm going to do this thing with my life, and this is how it's going to happen, and everything else is just in my way. That's what I would think it would take to become a world leader of some sort.
Yeah.
A president, a premier, a viceroy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's like that's what it takes. Yeah. And I'm like, nope, not for me.
Right. Yeah, and going back to this concept of like lying to ourselves, that's another Sam Harris thing. And Marcus Aurelius also says something to that effect. If someone sort of presents a different idea, to be open to the possibility that you might be wrong, that you might be lying to yourself. It can be earth-shattering. Yeah. It can be hard to accept that you had this worldview.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
What's the sunk cost fallacy?
Yeah.
I'm this deep in, man. How can I turn back now?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as an actor, do you feel like, though, that actually we practice the art of lying to ourselves in our craft?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's kind of
how
it feels for me. Is I think it's a skill that can be really good in certain contexts,
Yeah.
But in day-to-day life,
No, that's what I one of the things I say in class is like bullshitting yourself is a horrible way to go through life. Great way to be an actor, because that's the gig.
Yeah.
Is I'm believing made up crap. I'm all in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, and I've got these made up circumstances of this made up person, and and I'm all in on that.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of tricks that you can use for that, but it's all about believing that.
Yeah.
And you can use sense memory, you can just use your subconscious, or just allow yourself to buy the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key.
Yeah. Sometimes I phrase it like I'm fooling myself into thinking I'm experiencing a different reality. Like I'm stepping into another reality and I'm tricking my brain into thinking it's real.
Yeah.
And I'm lying to myself. I'll even use mantras and stuff. I'll recite these mantras, and so I can really think like the character.
Sure.
And I don't know about you, but if I'm playing a character that's very different from how I see the world and my daily life, it makes me more empathetic and compassionate towards people who think differently.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel that way when you play a character that's?
Yeah. There are some people I'm just like, murder you, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like nobody thinks they're evil.
Right.
That was like, and I think a lot of evil guys.
I know.
So it's like, I'm not evil. I'm doing the right thing here.
Right.
You're in the way.
Yeah. I know you've played a lot of complex characters, and I wish I knew your entire resume. But I know you've.
Well, let's get it out and read through it, shall we?
Side note, I saw your recent film with Song Sung Blue.
Oh, you watched it?
Yes.
You went to the theater.
I went to the theater.
You went to the movies. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And I was delighted to see you within the first few minutes of the movie.
And then I'm gone.
Yeah, and then I always kept hoping I would see you again. But I mean, your scene was great, and you got to play this really fun character, this Elvis impersonator.
Great costume, man.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. I was dying laughing.
Oh, good. That was the purpose. We needed some comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I it made me think about, because that's what I cosplay all the time.
Right.
I am actually one of those weirdos who I play Taylor Swift and princesses, and I that's what I do as a part-time job. Yeah. So I actually met somebody who is an Elvis impersonator before. And I feel I don't know, I feel like you just nailed it because you were taking it so seriously. And that's what those cosplayers do.
You got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a camp. I mean, I was a campier version with the big hair and everything, but still, it was like, no, this is what I do, baby. Yeah, I'm the best in Milwaukee.
Yeah. I love that part when you were like, over my dead body, I'm the only Elvis impersonator in Milwaukee. Because that's exactly how those people that do the cosplay, they take it.
Stay in your own lane, buddy.
Yeah.
This is me. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I sidetracked.
I'm glad you saw it. Thanks.
But anyway, going back to what we were saying.
Well, talking about sociopaths and
yes,
believing in our characters and all that. Maybe what was before that?
But yeah, so just going back to this idea how stories shape our life. And stories, like the Bible, whether you interpret the Bible as fiction or nonfiction, it can have a profound impact on our lives. Mm-hmm. So as an actor, I was just curious how much those characters sort of... Do you ever play a character and then it sort of changes your worldview at all? Or do you just feel like, okay, I can empathize with this character for now, and then you just throw it away?
That's a good question. I've ever played a character that's like totally changed my worldview, or at least changed it some. I can't. I don't know. I don't think so. I've played characters by especially if you're doing like a real person, a historical character. That's been life changing a little bit because I've studied them and learned about them and the way that they comported themselves and things they did. Some of it was like, oh, I should adopt that. But that's about it. Yeah. How about you?
I wouldn't say that any character I've played has like completely changed my worldview, but it's definitely made me more empathetic and compassionate towards people who think differently. Instead of vilifying people, like, if you're playing the villain, you can actually kind of understand. You have to get to a point where you can understand their motivations, and not just from a psychological, I understand the psychology, but like, I think that you have to get behind that and believe that what you're doing is justified. And so I think in that way, it definitely helps me become more empathetic.
Sure.
When I'm playing someone who thinks totally different than me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a limit, but it helps me, when I see bad people doing bad things in the real world, it's just like, they think they're doing good.
Right.
I wish they'd stop. Or someone would stop them, but they think they're doing good.
Right. Well, cool. I don't want to take up your whole night.
Well, we are going to have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'll bet my camera probably isn't even running.
Okay. But yeah, we started talking about your movie, and then I was like, I just want to ask him about working on that movie now, but I didn't want to get too sidetracked.
Is there something else you wanted to ask?
But yeah, I mean, is there anything? I don't know. I'm wondering how we should wrap this up as far as like the.
We'll fix it in the edit. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. To be continued? I don't know.
Yeah.
You're going to teach me how to get off my keto diet and live more healthy, or how to have full hair like yours?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you ever have any questions about diet and nutrition, feel free to ask me. And maybe I'm
dealing with some wicked reflux right now.
Maybe, I'd be happy to give you some information about that as, to my limited knowledge. I like to think of nutrition as sort of how I think of everything in life. It's a never-ending learning experience. Yeah. We think we figured it out, and then years later, like we used to think sugar was healthy.
Right.
That's sort of
cigarettes, 9 out of 10 doctors.
You didn't know cigarettes were that bad for you.
Carbohydrates, great.
Yeah, the food pyramid is completely switched now.
Yeah.
But that sort of is analogous to how we thought about the meaning of life. We used to think that these things, and now we've kind of learned, but the question is how do we, I don't know, how much have we learned, and how do we trust what we've learned? And how can we come to some type of agreement that's going to like create any harmony? Or should we just accept that we're always going to have like a little dystopia of sorts? Like, should we just accept that life is always going to be, that these challenges are always going to be here? Like these interpersonal challenges, like we're always going to have like war. We're always going to have like people that are starving. We're always going to have sociopaths? Should we just accept it, or is there?
Well, what do you do if you don't accept it?
I mean, if you don't accept it,
what is that doing for you?
Um,
Are you just gonna be like angry about it all the time, not accepting it?
Well, I mean, that's the question. It's like,
fighting against it.
Do we fight against it? Do we take steps towards, I mean, that's kind of what I've been trying to do with the podcast, is sort of like talk about these deeper ideas and just kind of like inspire people to think more critically about life. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to create more unity and less division.
Well, here's my 2 cents. Is within the last. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
No.
In the last, I don't know, probably 5 to 10 years. I don't know what triggered it now. I can't remember, but I was just like, I was thinking about what's the point? Why are we here? What's the meaning of this whole thing? And I was like, and I am married, but I never had children, so I didn't propagate the species. I didn't help in that department. Neither have you, as far as I know. This is some secret you haven't told me. That there's there's more to life than having the better car and the bigger house and the nicer clothes, that kind of capitalistic dream. I lived in that. I grew up in that. I was raised very right-wing, Republican young man, and in that very capitalistic type world. And I'm still a capitalist. I like nice stuff. And I bought myself a little sports car because I'm middle-aged now and I wanted one, so I did. Things like that. But I found, I was like, I think what's the purpose then? Before I die, because now at my age, I started thinking about that. And I hope you're not thinking about it too much yet, but you will. It's like, how many summers have I got left? I started thinking about, okay, how much? And my wife's like, stop talking about death, memento mori, fuck you. I don't want to hear that ever again. I'm like, honey, it keeps me going. It gets me out of bed every day. Like, what are you going to do with this day that you have left? So I'm going to try to I'm going to try to understand this thing, not my hat, my brain better. And that's when I started reading more, and that's when I got turned on to Mr. Harris, but also on to Stoicism and other philosophers. I haven't read Hume. I haven't read Locke. I've got the John Rawls book in there. Have I read it? No. But I'm trying to do that. And when I talk to people, which almost no one will talk to me like we just did tonight, so thank you for that, is have more of these kind of conversations with people. And a lot of people don't want to. And so do we have to continue to live and expect that the world is going to have wars and despots and sociopaths and bad people? I'm afraid so. All we can do, though, is try to help change ourselves or educate ourselves, or whatever you want to call it, enlighten ourselves, find nirvana, whatever works, whatever word you want to use, and maybe inspire others to do the same. Mm-hmm. And that's the best that we can hope for, in my opinion, because I'm of the ilk that this whole thing's biological. It's a freaking weird thing that happened. We're probably the only one in the universe, and we're not even sure why we're here. It's probably all just an illusion. So, we're probably not even alive. And so that's how I'm able to get through my day. And so while I'm getting through my day and my week and my month and my year, I want to enjoy the experience to the best of my ability. I'm not willing to just be completely willy-nilly about it, though, and blow through all of the money I have in the bank to take that trip around the world. But I am going to do the things that bring me joy and the people around me joy and the people that I know joy as best I can. That's all I can do, because I can't stop the wars. I'll whine about them on Instagram, but I can't stop them.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to vote next November. Right. But that's about all I got, and a little bit of volunteer work that
I do. Yeah, I think that's a great attitude.
Oh, thank you.
No one person can save the world, but
Jesus can.
But
sorry.
But we can we can make choices that do make an impact, right?
Sure. But it's all your positive choices are gonna have a negative impact on someone.
Yeah, and
I have to accept that too.
Yes, and so Stoicism sort of believes that we don't have any control over what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it.
That's it.
And also, to your point of getting to know yourself, getting to know the inner workings of your mind, understanding your human mind better can help you in life when you're interacting with others, right?
And then I think empathy is really where it comes down to.
Empathy, yes. Having empathy. And as actors, it helps me as an actor to develop my empathy more and more.
If you don't have empathy, you could be an actor.
Yeah.
You could be a performer, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
I've had people cycle through my class and it's like, yeah, you don't understand humans. Sorry, this isn't going to work for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I could talk about these topics for a really long time, but I really appreciate you being willing to sit down and share some of your thoughts with me about how
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah, these ideas sort of impacted your life, and I don't have any perfect recipe for anyone out there either. But if you have any ideas for, I just like having these conversations. I feel like having these conversations helps me feel like I'm getting closer to the truth. I don't pretend like I figured out the truth of reality and the meaning of life, but I think these conversations helps me feel like I'm somewhere getting a little closer.
Communication's key, baby.
Yes. So yes, if you're watching at home, comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are about Christianity, religion, Stoicism, Sam Harris, or if you just have any questions about Jayson Warner Smith and his amazing career. He's been on The Walking Dead. You should go see some of his movies. He's had a great career. I'm sure he's too busy to answer your questions. But
so busy. So busy.
But yeah, I thank you so much for joining me.
The pleasure is all mine. Kim, thanks for coming by. I love this conversation, and I wish I could have more and more and more of these. Because my wife will not talk like this ever. It just ends up in an argument. Why do you think that? Shut up. I love my wife. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, she's like, I don't want to talk philosophy. And so when you said, let's do this, whether you ever showed this to anybody or not, I have had a great time. Okay. And if you're still watching this, God bless you. What is wrong with you?